A school run that turned fatal. With one turn, 3 shots fired. New body cam footage, new revelations. Law enforcement or lethal force? Was Renee Good murdered in broad daylight?
Hello and welcome to Explained, brought to you by NewsX. My name is Vineet Malhotra. Today we are tracing the final minutes of Renee Good shooting in Minneapolis. Based on investigative reports and video evidence from 7th January, we have put together the move-by-move timeline of what happened on Portland Avenue. At approximately 9:30 a.m., Renee Good arrived in Portland Avenue after driving her maroon Honda Pilot. She had just dropped her 6-year-old son off at school, and at this time, federal ICE agents were already on the block conducting an unrelated operation. At 9:35 a.m., Good stopped her vehicle diagonally, nearly perpendicular, in the middle of the street. We've put out a visual representation for you. According to two witnesses, she was acting as a legal observer to document the ICE activity. While stopped, she was seen on the video waving other civilian traffic past her car so they couldn't be blocked. 1 minute and 46 seconds later, the situation escalated. Multiple unmarked federal vehicles, including a grey Nissan Titan pickup truck, moved in and boxed in Good's Honda Pilot. Renee's wife, Rebecca, exited the passenger side and began filming the agents with her phone. Audio from the scene captures Rebecca telling agents, "We don't change our plates every morning. This will be the same plate when you come talk to us later. Take a look." One agent, Jonathan E. Ross, began filming back. Renee was also heard speaking calmly through her driver's side window, telling Agent Ross, "That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. Listen in."
We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us.
Well, the atmosphere shifted when two masked agents approached the driver's side. One agent grabbed the door handle and yelled at Renee to get out of the car. And at the same time, witnesses reported other agents were shouting conflicting orders, telling her to move the vehicle. And during this time, Agent Ross moved from the passenger side to the front driver's side corner of the car, standing directly in its path while still filming with his phone. At 9:37 a.m., Rebecca told Renee to leave, saying, "Drive, baby, drive." And Renee shifted the car into gear, backed up slightly, and then began to pull forward. She turned the wheel to the right to try and steer around Agent Ross. In a split moment, 3 shots were fired through the driver's side window at close range. Renee Good lost control of the SUV. The car hurtled down the street and crashed into several parked cars before coming to a stop. Renee was later pronounced dead at the hospital from a gunshot wound to the head. Take a look. And looking at the slowed down video, notice Renee's hands. She turns the wheel sharply to the right away from the agents. The car barely brushes Agent Ross. There are no injuries, but even as her wife screams for it to stop, the officer opens fire. This is the exact moment everything went wrong. Have a look. Well, the federal agent involved in the fatal shooting has been identified as Jonathan E. Ross. He is a 10-year veteran of federal law enforcement and a member of the ICE Enforcement and Removal Operations Special Response Team. A 43-year-old resident of Minnesota, Ross previously served as a machine gunner with the Indiana National Guard in Iraq and worked for the US Border Patrol in Texas before joining ICE in 2015. At the time of the shooting, he was serving as a deportation officer and field intelligence agent based out of St. Paul Field Office. Soon after, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem released her initial statement. Listen in.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around.
Well, she described this incident as an act of domestic terrorism, but in the same breath, she acknowledged the very real dangers law enforcement officers face every single day. To understand that perspective, we have to look back at June 17th, 2025. Agent Ross was leading a team in Bloomington to arrest a man named Roberto Carlos Munoz. During that arrest, Ross used almost the exact same tactics we saw on Portland Avenue. He boxed the car in diagonally, and when the driver wouldn't open up, Ross used a window punch to shatter the glass, but as he reached inside to grab the lock, the driver floored it. Ross was trapped, dragged for nearly 100 yards and the length of a football field at high speed. But critics argue that this time was different. They say Renee Good did not provoke anyone. She was not violent and she did not have a warrant. In her case, she simply steered her car when she saw two armed officers charging towards her. It's a distinction that has Governor Tim Walz speaking out, insisting that Minnesota must play a direct role in investigating this fatal shooting. Listen in.
I've been very clear. We need a couple things here. We need Minnesota to carry out this investigation to make sure that the professionals at the BCA and the local law enforcement who's in charge of law enforcement make sure we do the investigation, and then to pull back this unnecessary surge. And so with that, I would ask for all of us to continue to do this peacefully, continue to raise our voices, but do so in a manner that brings about that sense of community.
Well, the political divide over the shooting is widening by the hour. Governor Tim Walz is pleading for transparency, asking federal partners to let state investigators do their jobs. However, when US President Donald Trump was asked about this shooting, he dodged the question and went on a rant, lauding his tenure in Minnesota.
Normally I would, but they're crooked officials. I mean, Minneapolis and Minnesota, what a beautiful place, but it's being destroyed. It's got an incompetent governor, fool. I mean, he's a stupid person. And it looks like the number could be $19 billion stolen from a lot of people, but largely people from Somalia. They buy their vote. They vote in a group. They buy their vote. They sell more Mercedes-Benzes in that area than almost... Can you imagine you come over with no money and then shortly thereafter you're driving a Mercedes-Benz? The whole thing is ridiculous. So they're very corrupt people. It's a very corrupt state. I feel that I won Minnesota. I think I won it all 3 times. Nobody's won it since Richard Nixon won it many, many years ago. I won it all 3 times, in my opinion. And it's a corrupt state, a corrupt voting state. And the Republicans ought to get smart and demand on voter ID. They ought to demand maybe same-day voting and all of the other things that you have to have a safe election. But I won Minnesota 3 times and I didn't get credit for it.
And before she was a name in a headline, Renee was a voice on the page. She was a graduate of Old Dominion University and an award-winning poet, recently honored by the Academy of American Poets, and a mother who was simply dropping her son off to school. With the FBI now barring Minnesota's own state investigators from accessing the evidence, can the people of Minneapolis trust that the final report will be a search for the truth, or will it be seen as a federal agency protecting its own?
A school run that turned fatal. With 1 turn, 3 shots fired. New body cam footage, new revelations. Law enforcement or lethal force? Was Renee Good murdered in broad daylight?